So, here's a question for you. What's your product really worth? I mean, think about it. It's a question that trips up so many businesses. But you know what? Getting the answer right, it's not just important, it's pretty much the key to unlocking some serious profitability. Today, we're going to dive into the secrets of smart pricing. And that means we're moving way beyond just adding up costs. And instead, we're going to figure out what your customers truly value.
All right, let's jump right in. We're going to start with what I like to call the 11% problem. Trust me, it's this huge, often totally missed opportunity for most companies. And it all kicks off with one really powerful question.
Seriously, are you leaving money on the table with your pricing strategy? Now think about your own business for a second, or maybe one you know really well. How's the price set? Is it just based on what it costs to make the thing, plus a little extra? Or is it based on something else entirely? Because honestly, the answer to that question, well, it can be the difference between just barely getting by and absolutely crushing it. For most folks, the answer uncovers a huge blind spot.
11%. So what's the big deal with this number? What's so special about 11%? Well, this one little number, it shows you the incredible, almost hidden power that's locked inside your price tag. It's all about just how sensitive your profits are to even the tiniest little tweaks in your pricing.
Yep, that's it right there. Just think about this for a second. Research shows that a tiny, just 1% improvement in your price can boost your operating profit by an average of a whopping 11%. I mean, that is massive leverage. It's way more powerful than getting a 1% bump in your sales volume or cutting your costs by 1%. And this right here is why getting your pricing right isn't just some boring spreadsheet task. No way. It's one of your most powerful strategic weapons.
Okay, so if pricing is that powerful, how in the world do you actually get it right? Well, the answer requires a total shift in how you think about it. You've got to stop looking inward at your own costs and start looking outward, into your customer's world.
And this is the big idea, right here. It's called value-based pricing. And basically, instead of asking, okay, what did this cost me to make and how much do I want to add on top, you start asking a totally different question. How much is this thing worth to my customer? It's all about pricing based on the benefit you deliver, not just the hours or materials you put in. So, how do you even begin to calculate that value?
Well, believe it or not, there's a surprisingly straightforward 4-step process to figure this out. Step 1, you find the price of the next best thing for your customer. That's your starting point, your reference value. Step 2, you list out every single thing that makes your product different, the good stuff and the bad stuff. Step 3, and yeah, this is the hard part, you have to actually put a dollar value on those differences. Like how much is that extra feature or that time you save them really worth in cold hard cash? And finally, step 4, you just add it all up, your reference value plus that differentiation value.
And here's the formula in a nutshell. It's actually really elegant. Your product's total economic value isn't some number you just pull out of thin air. Nope. It's grounded in reality. It's anchored to what's already out there. That's your reference value. And then you stack on top of that all the unique, measurable good stuff you bring to the party. That's your differential value. That's your secret sauce.
All right, to really make this stick, I want to show you a fantastic visual tool that comes out of Harvard Business School. It helps you see all the different pieces of a pricing decision all at once. It's called the pricing thermometer.
So check this out. This thermometer basically lays out the entire pricing world for your product. Way down at the bottom, at the bulb, you've got your costs. That's the floor. All the way up at the top, you've got the true economic value. That's the ceiling. Now your actual price has to land somewhere in that range. And where you decide to put it, well, that determines everything. It sets your profit margin, and it also sets how much your customer wants to buy.
Let's start at the bottom, the floor. This is your cost of goods sold, or COGS. Think of this as your absolute do not cross this line minimum price. If you price below this, you are literally losing money on every single sale. You're paying people to take your stuff. It's super important to know this number, but, and this is key, it should never ever be what you base your final price on. Now, let's shoot all the way to the top. This is your ceiling. This is the true economic value, or TEV. This is the absolute maximum, theoretical price you could charge. But it comes with a big if. If your customer was a total expert and understood every single benefit your product delivers over the competition. Think of this as your North Star, the ultimate goal you're aiming for with your pricing. But here's where it gets real. There's usually a pretty big gap between that perfect, objective, true economic value and what your customers actually think your product is worth, their perceived value. And bridging that gap, well, my friends, that is the job of marketing.
Your entire goal is to educate your customers, to show them the value, and to lift their perception up as close as you possibly can to that true value ceiling. The better you are at that, the more you can justifiably charge.
Okay, this all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But how does it actually play out in the real world? Let's dig into a couple of fantastic case studies that show these ideas in action.
So first up, we've got a company called Aqualisa. Now, they came up with this totally revolutionary new kind of shower. I mean, it was better technology, and it was an absolute breeze for plumbers to install. But when it came time to launch, they made a classic pricing mistake.
Okay, just look at these numbers. Aqualisa priced their new fancy shower at £1,080. Get this, that was actually cheaper than their old model. Why? Because they were stuck thinking about their own manufacturing costs. But the real story, the absolute kicker, is that second line, the installation cost. For the plumber, it went from £960 all the way down to £240. That's £720 in pure savings for the customer. That was the differential value. The total cost to own this thing plummeted. Aqualisa could have charged way more for the shower itself, and the customer still would have been getting a fantastic deal. They left so much money on the table, it's not even funny.
Now for a totally different story, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Back in the 80s, there was this one ulcer drug, Tagamet, that basically owned the market. So when a new competitor, Zantac, showed up, everyone thought, okay, they'll have to price it lower to compete. But they did the exact opposite.
And this is just a textbook example of closing that value gap we talked about. See, the company, Glaxo, knew Zantac's true economic value is higher because it just worked better. But they also knew that right out of the gate, doctors' perceived value would be low. They wouldn't know it was better yet. So what did they do? They poured a ton of money into marketing to educate doctors and hoist that perceived value right up to match the actual value. And the result? It worked. They commanded that huge price premium, and Zantac became the best-selling drug on the planet.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that value isn't just one single number for everybody, right? That Aqualisa shower is worth a lot more to a contractor building dozens of homes than it is to me trying to fix up my bathroom on a weekend. And that brings us to our final, really powerful strategy.
Price customization. Look, if not everyone values your product the same, why on earth would you charge them all the same price? It doesn't make sense. This is all about creating different versions or packages of your offer so you can get the most value from each different type of customer. And you can do it without making anyone feel ripped off. It's truly one of the smartest ways to boost your profits.
One of the most common ways to do this is with a good, better, best strategy. And Titleist golf balls are just a perfect example. You've got the serious pro golfer who needs every possible advantage. They will happily shell out $62 for the Pro V1X. Then you've got the casual weekend golfer, like me, whose main goal is just not to lose a super expensive ball in the lake. The $28 DT Solo is perfect for them. See what they're doing? With these different tiers, Titleist is able to capture value from literally everyone who golfs. It's brilliant.
And that really brings us right back to you. This is the question I want you to walk away with. Remember, pricing isn't just about covering your costs and adding a bit on top. It's about actually capturing a fair share of the value you create in the world. So, I challenge you. Look at what you do, but look at it through your customer's eyes. What problem are you really solving for them? How much time are you saving them? How much money? How much of a headache are you taking away? Because the answer to those questions, that's where your best price is just waiting to be found. So, what hidden value are you ready to go out and capture?